Hey guys, welcome to Ravine Vineyards. I'm Marty Warner, the winemaker.
And I'm Ben Meinecker, the assistant winemaker here.
Today we want to tell you a little bit about some wine that we made in 2009. We made two different Cab Francs. Both of these wines were made from the same vineyard, two separate blocks, and what we did was we did some viticulture practices differently amongst the two blocks, and we made two very different wines, which is very interesting because these blocks are beside each other. They do have very similar soil profiles, and so everything was pretty much done the same except for this thing that we call fruit thinning. And so what we wanted to see is we're really trying to hone in where and how much fruit to thin off our vines. And so the West Block, we kept a little bit more fruit on those vines in order to see if we could push the plant and still achieve the same ripeness as the East Block Cab Franc. And so in the East Block we actually went down to one bunch per shoot, which really concentrates a whole bunch of things in the wine, and we'll talk about that in a sec. But yeah, so different tonnage levels, which means different amounts of grapes came off of each block, and therefore you're going to see the numbers in terms of alcohol, sugar when the grapes were picked, tannin and acidity in the two blocks, all based on just the amount of fruit that we have on those two separate blocks. So let's taste the Cab Franc West Block first. So the Cab Franc West Block is a lot more stylistically like the rest of the Ravine lineup, a little bit more old world in style. We're really trying to show the soil and promote a little bit more tannin structure and sort of stay away from that extremely primary fruit characteristic, which we do see in the East Block. The West Block has a higher acidity and was picked at a slightly less Brix, which means we have less sugar, and therefore after fermentation we're going to have less alcohol as well. The East Block has a lot more primary fruit flavors, and what I mean by that is you're going to see a lot more raspberry, strawberry, and it's going to be very concentrated, almost like a jam. And so on that, we're also seeing much bigger tannins, and that's again due to the one bunch per shoot, meaning that the plant is concentrating all their efforts into just one bunch. So we're going to get much higher sugars and higher alcohols in return. What do you think, bud?
Well, I certainly notice a difference between the two, that's for sure. I really like some of the forest floor aromas, some of the freshness, that little bit more of that acidity brought. I think the East Block is definitely a lot richer, more concentrated. You can really feel it when you drink it. It is a true full-bodied red wine.
Almost has a little bit of a touch of an Amarone to it, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I would think that the East Block would definitely pair nicely with a nice big steak on the barbecue. And the West Block, maybe something a little more refined, kind of a braised meats in the middle of winter, I would go with.
Nice. So I think that the West Block will also age a little bit better, even though the alcohol is a little bit less. The acid structure in the West Block certainly gives it a lot more of an ageability profile, whereas the East Block is sort of more like an action movie. You're going to see it really in your face today, whereas the West Block, not so much. I think it's really going to come into its own in a couple of years from now.